Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Road. Today's subject is a character that's honestly very dear to my heart. The character in question is Ash Williams from the Evil Dead series. Basically, for those of you who may not be familiar with the character, Ash Williams is the protagonist of the Evil Dead series. Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, as well as the television series that was released in 2015, I want to say, Ash vs. Evil Dead. Basically, he's your average Joe who unfortunately turns to Monster Hunter because, well, whenever Deadite evil spirits possess your friends, your girlfriend, and force you to butcher said friends and girlfriend, well, it kind of makes you want to destroy them. And basically, the actor who has portrayed Ash Williams, Bruce Campbell, has retired the character because because the series Ash vs. Evil Dead has concluded after its third season because Starz did not pick it up for a fourth season, unfortunately. Mr. Campbell is in his 60s. He's portrayed the character since the early, I want to say 80s? I have to double check my facts, but anyway. Because he's stepping down from the role, and I know no one can take his place. And Mr. Campbell has said that he is officially retiring the character. Now seems the perfect time to walk the end of the road with him. And so that's what I'm going to do now. Now, really quick, before I begin, there's going to be a lot of spoilers for the 3 Evil Dead movies. Again, Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. I'm going to be talking about the video games that the character Ash has been a part of. Evil Dead Hail to the King, Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick, and Evil Dead Regeneration. As well as Ash vs. Evil Dead Seasons 1 through 3. And finally, just some reference to some of the comic book adventures that the Evil Dead series has gone through, because there's a lot to talk about. So yeah. With that in mind, everyone, let's talk about Ash Williams, the Deadite slaying king. So, first off, let's start with the movies. Basically, Evil Dead 1 is just the story of Ash and some of his friends going to a cabin out in the woods for the weekend. They unfortunately come across a weird tape recorder, and upon playing it, they hear some professor reciting incantations from this strange, creepy book that's on the table next to it. This book is known as the Necronomicon, and it's got, evil incantations, resurrection passages, etc., to summon evil spirits known as Deadites. And once summoned to this world, well, those things start to take over. Start to take over the people in the cabin, Ash's friends. And basically, the original Evil Dead, in a nutshell, is a very creepy horror movie where, where the group of friends are slowly picked off one by one, turned into evil spirits, or attacked by their friends who are possessed by the evil spirits. Until Ash is the final person left alive. In the end, Ash does make it to dawn, and he goes to leave the cabin, but he's attacked by some sort of weird POV demon. Now, really quick, that's important because Evil Dead 2, for those of you who may not have seen the movie, first off, go see it. It's wonderful. I love it. It's excellent. Yes. But Evil Dead 2 is in many respects, a requel. Basically, that means, it's kind of a sequel, but it's also kind of a remake of the original movie. And in my research, I figured out how they link the first Evil Dead movie and Evil Dead 2. Basically, and I'll explain, where they kind of converge. But basically, Evil Dead 2 is Ash and his girlfriend at the time, I think Linda, going out to this same cabin in the woods, for a nice fun little weekend. He knows it's abandoned. They find the tape recorder. It gets turned on again because, well, either Ash or Linda's not aware. Again, that's why it's kind of like a remake, because, hey, we don't know what this tape recorder is for. Turns it on. Spirits are unleashed. Bad stuff happens. And Linda's taken. She is killed. Ash buries her. And, yeah. And Ash is, again, attacked by a POV demon. Now, really quick, the link between Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 is this attack by the POV demon. The demon pretty much just... It's a POV shot of the camera going through the cabin, hitting Ash, and just, like, taking him basically some distance into the woods, and he hits a tree. Now, basically, this link, you know, is pretty much all of Evil Dead 1, the movie, and then just cuts out maybe, like, the first 10 to 15 minutes of Evil Dead 2. And, yeah, it's kind of messed up. But it kind of works, too, because, I mean, like, the big things that are different are this new person, Linda, but Ash went to the cabin with several other friends. Maybe this was one of his other friends who was killed and that he buried, because he did that in the first movie. And yeah, but anyway, continuing forward with Evil Dead, Ash must flee the POV demon. Well, after Ash is attacked by the POV demon, he tries to escape to the Cabin in the Woods area, but unfortunately, the evil spirits have destroyed the only bridge leading out of the area and into the area, as far as Ash knows. And that's important because other characters pop up later. But anyway, Ash has to return to the cabin and tries to seek refuge from the evil within the woods for the night because, yeah, he would die if he tried going out by himself. Unbeknownst to Ash, some people are also trying to make their way to the cabin themselves. The professor's daughter, Anna, I forget. But basically, she's trying to come to the cabin to meet with her mother and father because she has some more pages from the Necronomicon that she wants to get translated. Well, they come to the cabin, they find Ash covered in blood and just see all the other bad stuff that's happened, and they go, "You killed my parents, you fucking monster." And basically chaos ensues because the Evil Dead spirits are still out there in the woods, you know, taking over trees, taking over people within the cabin. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Honestly, at times it can be kind of weird to follow the logic of like how people get possessed, how Deadites do their thing, but whatever. Basically, the story concludes with Ash having to go into the basement of the house and get the spellbook pages because they were thrown down there by a character. And unfortunately, Ash knows that there's a Deadite monster down there. And he has to face off with that in order to get the spellbook pages, get them to Annie, who can potentially translate these pages and hopefully send the evil away. I'm not going to spoil everything, but I'm going to use the word win, quotation marks and question mark, I might add. And Ash is sucked through a portal that was sucking up the evil and sends them back to the, I think it's like 1400s, basically the medieval times. Which leads us into Evil Dead 3, or the movie known as Army of Darkness. Basically, you know, in medieval times, they're being harassed by Deadites and evil and stuff like that. And Ash kind of becomes a leader. Because in the Necronomicon, they have the prophecy of the hero who shall fall from the sky, or whatever. He who falls from the sky, something like that. I forget the exact words. And, well, he fell from the sky with his car. He's the guy. And, whew, it's definitely a crazy, interesting adventure. One of the big things, though, to note is, as the series goes on, it goes more from, like, Evil Dead 1 is extreme horror and gore and craziness. Evil Dead 2, still horror, but also dark comedy. And then Army of Darkness is just, well, you know, kind of a comedy movie, comedy action movie, and it's entertaining. But one of the big things that goes on in Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness, is Ash has to go and find the spellbook again. It is left in this strange graveyard for whatever reason. Again, Evil Dead movies' logic is kind of weird and iffy sometimes, but just run with it. It's fine, it's fun, it's entertaining. Ash goes to the cemetery, and he's supposed to grab the book, but in order to ensure, you know, everything's good and fine, whenever he picks up the book, he has to recite a simple incantation. 3 words, and he screws it up. And you know what those words are? Cladu, Verada, Give me a sec. It's God, where was it? Nectar? No, nickel, necktie. Nicto, that's it. Oops. Okay, maybe it's harder than it looks. I'm sorry. But, yeah. So Ash, Ash picks up the spellbook. He didn't say the words, because he's kind of a screw-up. No offense, Mr. Campbell. No offense, Ash. You can kill deadites, but you're lacking in other areas, let's be honest. He goes back to the castle, and unfortunately, there's an army of dead pursuing him. So he has to team up with the medieval knights and fight them off with science and his car, and it's just an awesome, fun adventure. Like, for real. If you've seen nothing else of the Evil Dead series, watch Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. They're great movies. I love them. They're entertaining. Just don't be insanely critical, because, yeah, logic's kind of weird. And let's see. And then really quick, continuing off of, the Ash, the Army of Darkness stuff, I'm just going to go right into the television series, Ash vs. Evil Dead. Basically, this picks up roughly 30 years after the events of, the Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness stuff. Ash is older. He's clearly 50s, 60s. And, well, he's just traveling across Michigan, living his life, doing whatever, with the Necronomicon, because something that evil and powerful, you do not leave behind for some stupid kid to pick up and read. Even though it's written in ancient Kandarian, I think. Some ancient language that's hard to read, and, yeah. Unfortunately, again, spoilers for the show here, Ash screws up and reads from the book, unleashing the evil, forcing him on a road trip back to the cabin in the woods where he found the book. I forget why, it's been a while since I watched season 1, but along the way he picks up some new companions, two of his co-workers actually, at the time, and honestly it's a fun, bloody, crazy affair. So, just saying, I loved it, worth a watch. I'm also a great big fan of the Evil Dead series. I'm just saying. Yeah. So, basically there's 3 seasons of that. The first season is going to the cabin in the woods, traveling across the country. The second season, basically, is Ash returning to Elk Grove, his hometown. Because after the events of the Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, Ash got kind of a bad reputation in town, in that people assumed that, well, he went up to the cabin, he butchered his friends, and then he fled. Yeah, because, 4 kids go up to a cabin in the woods, and then some other people, and then they all die, and then, yeah, it leaves a lot of questions. And I really like that because we get to see more of Ash's past, we get to see what happens after the Evil Dead movies, because movies are self-contained things, like, oh hey, we beat the monster of the week. Cool! And I just like that. It was interesting. And then Evil Dead, Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3 basically picks up with Ash is living the good life in Elk Grove, his hometown now, because he's, shown that he's not crazy, that there were evil things, and that he beat them back. But evil once again rises to give him a good challenge, and I don't want to ruin it. I did talk about all 3 seasons of the show, so I will put links in the description below, so you can check those out. Trust me, it's worth the watch. And also, I got a lot to talk about. So, moving on from there, and really quick, the Ash vs. Evil Dead 3 seasons, that concludes the Ash story arc, the main story arc that started in the movies and, ends in 2017. Now, let's move on to the video games, because there are 3 of them, so it's very easy to talk about them. The first game, Evil Dead Hail to the King, that came out on the PS1. I bought this game. I played this game, because I love Evil Dead. Oh, it's terrible. I'm sorry, it was not great. All I'm saying. Honestly, I would give the game probably a 6.5 out of 10. So it's playable, but basically the story is Ash and his girlfriend go back to the cabin in the woods because he's having some serious, like, PTSD-like stuff after it. Because, well, you hacked up your friends, all this crazy stuff happened. Phew. And Ash runs into trouble. Blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. It's a decent game. It's entertaining. It's decent. 6 out of 10. Let's leave it at that. Moving on to the next game. Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick. Basically, I believe this is a sequel to Hail to the King, in that at the end of that game, Ash and his girlfriend Linda, because Linda's a popular name, but anyway, they go back to town and they find in bookstores, there's so many different variations of the Necronomicon now. And unfortunately, evil's starting to pop up in Elk Grove. So Ash has to do some time traveling, some other crazy stuff to set things right, because it seems like he is the chosen one. He's the guy who fell from the sky, who saved us medieval times, and he's the guy who can actually face down a Deadite, not get possessed immediately, and butcher everyone. This game I would give higher than Hail to the King, maybe a 6.5 or 6.6. It wasn't great. I didn't enjoy it. I did not beat it. Hail to the King, I did beat. And finally, the cream of the crop. Evil Dead Regeneration. Basically, and I like this too because it follows the events of, I would say, Evil Dead 1, wherein, after Ash comes back from the cabin in the woods, people are like, where are your friends? Ash explains the story, and they put him in a mental asylum. And unfortunately, they confiscate, the Necronomicon from his possessions, and, well, some mad doctor guy decides to use that to do his own evil stuff, like take over the world. And honestly, it's kind of a ridiculous dungeon crawler, but it's entertaining. It's interesting. It has some good comedy because Ash gets a partner in this game, played by, is it Ted Raimi? I forget. One of the Raimis. But basically, they have to travel to different places, shut portals, and save the world. Honestly, this is the best game of the series, and I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. So, Hail to the King is 6, Fistful of Boomstick is 6.5, 7.5. Like, it's fun, it's pretty repetitive. You just go around shooting the bad guys. Ash makes some one-liners, his little buddy makes some one-liners. It's good if you're an Evil Dead fan, basically. And then one other quick thing that I totally forgot to make note of, even here, in my 4 pages, there is an Evil Dead musical. I have not seen it myself yet, but trust me, I hear good things, it's interesting, it's cool, and apparently there's a blood splash zone. Basically take Evil Dead 2, I believe, and make that into a musical. Yeah. If you haven't seen the movie, trust me, watch the movie. It's crazy and it's weird. Anyway, back to the retrospective about Ash the character. Finally, Ash in the comics. Big thing I want to talk about first before anything else, because I actually know something about this. Do you remember the movie Freddy vs. Jason? It came out in 2003. It was basically just a face-off between Jason Voorhees of the Friday the 13th series against Freddy Krueger of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Well, as a potential sequel, there was talk of Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, because Ash is a horror icon like those two, like definitely in the same park, I would say. If you disagree, that's your opinion. And I disagree with you. But anyway, there was talk of that, and basically the movie fell through. However, they made it into a comic. And I thought it was... Honestly, I think it's very enjoyable. It's interesting. Seeing these 3 characters play off of each other. And one of the cool things that I learned about this recently is the fact that, the comic is really based off of the script that they had for Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. So, a lot of stuff they were going to use in that, they used in the comics. And it's a cool, interesting story. I enjoyed it. And I'm not going to explain how they're all connected, but it's definitely worth a read, I would say. Again, bloody, mature content, just saying. Then we have the sequel comic, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, The Nightmare Warriors. And yeah, it's not as good, but again, if you want to see Freddy, Jason, and Ash, you know, all together in one big story, it's interesting. It's worth a read. Again, mature content. Trust me. I'm not going to tell you what, but yeah, there's mature content. And then, let's see. Other than that, I don't know as much about the comics, but I do have in my notes here some cool, interesting stuff that I just want to list off for you really quick. Talking about crossovers. Ash has done crossovers with some other cool, interesting characters. He's done some crossovers with some of the classic monsters like Dracula. He's done crossovers with other horror, well, other cult classic icons such as Reanimator, Darkman, and Xena Warrior Princess. And basically, I have not read, well, I read Evil Dead versus Darkman or whatever, and I thought it was interesting, enjoyable. But the link with Xena Warrior Princess is that Bruce Campbell, the actor who plays Ash, had a part in Xena Warrior Princess, Autoclus. I don't know how to say the name. And yeah, and he's also had crossovers with Hackslash, Danger Girl, and Vampirella. Again, I don't know anything about them, but it sounds interesting. If you love Ash, he's got a lot of stuff in the comics. And then, sorry, this is a lot. Ash also had a cool crossover with Marvel Comics. What was it called? Oh, Marvel Zombies versus the Army of Darkness. Basically, just imagine if all of the Marvel heroes were zombified and Ash had to go, well, Ash got sucked into their world and started to take them out because, yeah. I've read a quick synopsis on it. It sounds interesting. It's a bit ridiculous. And one of the cool things about it is it's, I guess it is canon, but the thing is it's on one of the millions of Earths in the Marvel multiverse. Again, basically multiverse theory, for those who may not know, is basically just, hey, every choice that you ever made, there's a universe where you said yes and where you said no. For like millions of choices. It's crazy. That is one of those universes. It's cool. It's interesting. Maybe you read it. I want to read it. Yes. I'm almost done. And then, of course, really quick, Ash has his own storyline of comics. I believe by Dynamite Comics, as well as, I think, with a few other companies as well. But one of the big things that I read was basically, you know, there's some solo stories, and there's this one larger arcing story. You know, Ash basically works with this group known as the League of Light. They're supposed to protect the world from evil and stuff like that. And honestly, it's interesting, it's crazy, it's got some good stuff, and I enjoyed it. I don't have every issue, so it's like, hey, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have 5, 6, but I have 7, 8. And then, like, I don't know, it's just crazy, and it's enjoyable. And that's what I have to say about that. Now that I've done all that stuff, time for me to gush as a fanboy, if I haven't already been doing that. Basically, you know, I saw Evil Dead 2, I saw Evil Dead, the original, sometime after that in my, like, teens. You know, that time where, like, oh my god, blood and gore and crazy stuff? Yes! Don't judge me, okay? American teen, it was normal, it was fine, I didn't go crazy. But, yeah, like, I just enjoyed the movie. You know, I've seen Mr. Campbell, I enjoy him, I've seen him in other productions, such as, you know, Burn Notice, God, I'm trying to think of other stuff. But basically, I fell in love with Bruce Campbell, the actor, and I'm really glad that this, you know, role in the Evil Dead series kind of helped to launch his career as, you know, a movie star. You know, I've seen him in some other things, I do enjoy him, he's a great guy, and, you know, now that Ash's story is ending, I wanted to do something special for that. And so I decided to make this whole video, do all this research, and share this with you guys. So if you don't know about Ash Williams and how cool he is, in my opinion, you can do the you can look into this stuff. You can find out for yourself. You can see Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness and Ash vs. Evil Dead. You know, and make a judgment call yourself. You know, I'm sorry to see you go, Mr. Williams, but I get it. And really quick, just to elaborate, basically, like I said earlier, the big reason that, you know, Mr. Campbell's retiring the character is that Starz did not pick up the show for season 4. And well, if, you know, Mr. Campbell isn't going to be portraying the character, you know, for that, then it seems like a good time to retirement. Like, Ash had his run. Honestly, his run should have just been the 3 movies. Maybe the comics as well. But the fact that we got the movies, we got the comics, we got the games, we got the 3 seasons of a TV show. We were blessed. You know, and it just sucks when you get to the end of the road. You know, and so I'm going to miss you, Mr. Campbell. And ladies and gentlemen, if you'll join me, I'm away, stage, whatever. Over that direction, I have one more quick thing to show you, because this is going to be a new part of my show. Valiant's Wall of Fame. Because, you know, there's some big characters that I want to remember. And, you know, having a cool Wall of Fame is going to be my way of doing that. So, let's head down the hallway, and I will show you how this is going to work. Alright everyone, really quick, this is going to be my Wall of Fame. Basically, like you've seen probably in some cool hip happening restaurants, they'll have pictures of cool famous people that have been to the place, or, you know, caricatures or something of that nature. And well, because I'm the character investigator and I have a certain passion for characters, I'm going to put some of those pictures up on my wall. And I'm going to say that these pictures are going to be, you know, classy black and white, because I'm cool like that. But I think really the issue was the fact that I forgot to put color ink in my printer. I forget. But anyway, pictured here is Ash from Army of Darkness. You know, holding the boomstick up above his head. And basically I'm going to tilt down slightly. I'm going to have stats below, and I'm going to zoom in a bit and see how that looks. Yeah, so it's going to have character name, it's going to have series, it's going to have actor, portrayer, and then status. So, doing the quick rundown for the character Ash Williams from the series Evil Dead, the actor was Bruce Campbell, and his current status is retired as of 2018. The series was canceled, but Ash, the character, I'm sure is still fighting evil somewhere. Now, because I'm doing this now, I'm going to have to go back and retroactively add some other characters to the Wall of Fame. Really quick, certainly Frank West from the Dead Rising series, Joey Wheeler from Yu-Gi-Oh!, Kazuma Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho, and basically I'm just going to make, you know, kind of a ceremony in January for those characters that I've already discussed. You know, and there are characters that I obviously still have to discuss, and at their times, either at the time of their video, or I'll just do a big ceremony, you know, that following January. I'm not sure I'm going to do this yet. But, yeah, so that's Ash. You know, you're... I'm really glad I got to share your story, Ash. You're a good guy. Mr. Campbell, you're awesome. All the crap that you put up with as the character, and it sucks to see you go, but I'm glad we got what we got. You know, we got 3 awesome movies. We got 3 games. We got comics. We got the 3-season TV series. 3's kind of a big number, apparently. And, but, you know, kick back in Jacksonville. Enjoy a few margaritas, look at some pretty girls, all that fun stuff. Because Ash vs. Evil Dead series established that's what he wanted to do. Was he wanted to go down to Jacksonville and just have a good time, and I can appreciate that after having to deal with some of the crazy crap he dealt with in the 2 movies. I would not want to deal with that. So, as always, everyone, have fun, stay safe, keep hydrated, and of course remember, every character, specifically Mr. Campbell here, sorry, Mr. Williams, has a story to tell. I'm Valiant Bradley James, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.